What if I told you that everything you've ever wanted, the wealth, the success, the life you dream about late at night, is already within your reach? Not because of luck, not because of privilege, but because of a secret so powerful that it's made more millionaires than any stock tip, any inheritance, any lottery ticket ever could. Napoleon Hill spent 25 years studying over 500 of the richest men in America to crack this code. And what he found wasn't just about money. It was about the human mind and how a single burning thought can change your entire destiny. This isn't just a book. It's a blueprint, a roadmap from poverty to power, from dreaming to doing, from wishing to winning. And today, you're about to discover it for yourself. You're watching the book Sanctuary, published in 1937 during one of the darkest economic times in American history. Think and Grow Rich became a beacon of hope for millions. Napoleon Hill didn't just write a book. He wrote a philosophy born from the minds of giants like Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, and Theodore Roosevelt. These weren't just rich men. They were thinkers, builders, dreamers who refused to accept defeat. And Hill spent decades learning their secrets, distilling their wisdom into 13 timeless principles that anyone, yes, anyone, can use to transform their life. This isn't about getting rich quick. It's about rewiring your mind. It's about understanding that success isn't an accident. It's a science, a deliberate, intentional process that starts with a single thought and ends with a life you designed. So whether you're broke, stuck, frustrated, or just searching for something more, this audiobook is for you. Because the principles you're about to hear don't discriminate. They don't care where you came from. They only care where you're going. So settle in, open your mind, and let's begin. Everything begins with a thought. Every skyscraper, every fortune, every invention, every life worth living. It all started as an invisible impulse in someone's mind. Hill opens with a story that proves this beyond doubt. The story of Edwin C. Barnes, a man who had nothing but a burning desire to work with Thomas Edison. He didn't know Edison. He didn't have money for a train ticket. But he had something more powerful, a decision, a thought so intense it consumed him. So he hopped a freight train, showed up at Edison's lab looking like a tramp, and said, "I'm here to work with you." Most people would have laughed him out of the room. But Edison saw something, a fire in his eyes, a determination that couldn't be faked. And that thought, that desire, became reality. Barnes didn't just get a job. He became Edison's business partner. He became wealthy beyond his wildest dreams. Why? Because he understood something most people never learn. Thoughts aren't just ideas. They're blueprints. They're instructions to the universe. And when you mix a thought with emotion, with faith, with action, it becomes unstoppable. Hill says it plainly. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. That's not motivation. That's mechanics. That's the law. Most people think weak, scattered, fearful thoughts and wonder why their lives are weak, scattered, and full of fear. But the successful? They think in pictures. They see their goals so clearly, so vividly, that their subconscious mind has no choice but to make it real. So ask yourself right now, what are you thinking about? Is it what you want, or what you're afraid of? Because either way, you're creating it. Desire isn't a wish. It's not a hope. It's a force. A raging, unshakable obsession. Hill introduces us to the first principle, desire. And he makes it clear, this isn't about wanting something casually. This is about burning for it. He gives us 6 steps to turn desire into reality. First, you decide exactly what you want. Not more money. Not a better life. You get specific. You name the amount. You set the date. Second, you decide what you're willing to give in exchange. There's no free lunch. Third, you establish a deadline. Fourth, you create a plan. Fifth, you write it all down. And sixth, you read it aloud, twice a day, every single day. You visualize it. You feel it. You live it in your mind until it becomes real. Hill tells the story of his own son, born without ears. Doctors said he'd be deaf and mute for life. But Hill refused to accept it. He planted a burning desire in his son's mind, a belief that he could hear, that he could speak, that his handicap was actually an advantage. And through persistence, through faith, through the power of a single, focused thought, his son did hear. He did speak. He became successful beyond what any doctor thought possible. That's the power of desire. It doesn't bow to circumstances. It bends reality. So here's the question. What do you want badly enough to stake your entire life on it? Because if you don't have that kind of desire, you're just drifting. You're just waiting for life to happen to you. But if you do, if you can name it, feel it, and commit to it, then nothing, and I mean nothing, can stop you. Faith is the oxygen that keeps desire alive. Without it, your dreams suffocate. Hill defines faith as the visualization of and belief in the attainment of desire. It's not blind hope. It's not religious dogma. It's the mental attitude that says, I know this is mine. It's already done. I'm just walking toward it. And here's the kicker. Faith can be developed. It's not something you're born with. It's something you build through autosuggestion, through repetition, through training your subconscious mind to accept what your conscious mind wants. Hill gives us a self-confidence formula, a daily ritual of affirmations that rewire your brain. You tell yourself, I have the ability to achieve my purpose. I will act persistently. I will think clearly. I will attract what I need. And you don't just say it. You feel it. You embody it. Because your subconscious doesn't know the difference between a real experience and a vividly imagined one. So when you feed it faith, when you feed it belief, it starts acting as if your goal is already achieved. It starts pulling you toward it. Hill also warns us, faith and fear cannot coexist. One destroys the other. So if you're paralyzed by doubt, by worry, by what others think, you're not in faith. You're in fear. And fear is a liar. It paints pictures of disaster that never come true. It robs you of action, of momentum, of life itself. But faith? Faith is the antidote. It's the armor. It's the fuel. And the more you practice it, the stronger it gets. So practice it every single day. Because the world belongs to those who believe. Your subconscious mind is like a garden. You can plant roses, or you can plant weeds. But either way, something's growing. Autosuggestion is the tool you use to plant what you want. It's the process of feeding your subconscious deliberate, repeated, emotionalized thoughts until they become beliefs. Hill says this is where most people fail. They read their goals once, feel nothing, and wonder why nothing changes. But that's not how it works. You have to mix emotion with your thoughts. You have to see yourself already in possession of what you want. You have to feel the joy, the gratitude, the excitement, as if it's already real. Every night before bed, Hill recommends reading your written goals aloud. Not just reading, experiencing. Close your eyes. Picture the money in your hands. Picture the life you're living. Picture the person you've become. And do this with faith, with certainty, with feeling. Because when your subconscious accepts something as true, it goes to work making it happen. It finds opportunities you would have missed. It gives you ideas you wouldn't have thought of. It changes your behavior without you even realizing it. But here's the trap. Your subconscious also accepts negative thoughts. It accepts fear, doubt, and worry just as easily as it accepts faith. So if you're constantly telling yourself, I can't afford this. I'm not smart enough. I always fail. Guess what? Your subconscious believes you, and it makes sure you're right. So guard your mind like it's a fortress, because it is. It's the control center of your entire life. And what you feed it today determines what you live tomorrow. General knowledge is everywhere. Specialized knowledge is power. Hill makes a critical distinction here. It's not what you know that matters. It's what you do with what you know. You can have a PhD and be broke. You can be a high school dropout and be a millionaire. The difference? Application. The people who win are the ones who take knowledge and turn it into action. They don't just learn, they execute. Hill emphasizes that if you don't have the knowledge you need, You can get it. You can hire it. You can partner with people who have it. Henry Ford didn't know everything about making cars, but he surrounded himself with people who did. Andrew Carnegie didn't know every detail of the steel business, but he had a mastermind group of experts. That's the secret. You don't have to know everything. You just have to know where to find it. And here's the truth most people ignore. The world pays you for results, not for effort. It doesn't matter how hard you work if you're working on the wrong thing. But if you acquire the right knowledge, apply it strategically, and solve a real problem, the money follows. So ask yourself, what specialized knowledge do I need to reach my goal? And how can I get it as fast as possible? Because in the age of information, ignorance is a choice. And staying ignorant is the only unforgivable mistake. Imagination is where the magic happens. It's where invisible thoughts become visible plans. Hill divides imagination into two types, synthetic and creative. Synthetic imagination takes old ideas and rearranges them into something new. Creative imagination taps into infinite intelligence. It's where hunches come from, where breakthroughs happen, where genius is born. And every great fortune started with an active imagination. Hill tells the story of Coca-Cola. An old country doctor sold a secret formula to a young clerk for $500. The clerk didn't just buy a recipe, he bought an idea. And through imagination, he turned that idea into a global empire. He didn't have the money. He didn't have the resources. But he had a vision. He saw what others couldn't. And he acted on it. Your imagination is your greatest asset. It's free. It's unlimited. It's the one thing no one can take from you. But most people let it atrophy. They stop dreaming. They stop creating. They settle for what's realistic. And that's why they stay stuck. But you don't have to live like that. You can dream bigger. You can imagine wilder. You can create a vision so compelling that the universe has no choice but to conspire in your favor. So close your eyes. Picture the life you want, and then open them and start building it. Dreams without plans are just fantasies. Hill lays out the importance of organized planning, taking your desire, your faith, your imagination, and turning them into a step-by-step blueprint. And he's brutally honest. Most people fail because they don't have a plan, or they have a weak plan, or they quit at the first obstacle. Hill gives us the 6-step method for creating a mastermind alliance, a group of people who support your vision, contribute their knowledge, and hold you accountable. He also talks about the importance of persistence. If your first plan fails, you make a new one. If that one fails, you make another. Thomas Edison failed 10,000 times before inventing the light bulb, but he didn't see it as failure. He saw it as 10,000 ways that didn't work. The key is this. You're going to face setbacks. You're going to hit walls. You're going to want to quit. But winners don't quit. They adjust. They adapt. They keep moving. And eventually, they break through. So write down your plan. Make it detailed. Make it actionable. And then commit to it like your life depends on it. Because it does. Indecision is the killer of dreams. Hill studied over 25,000 people and found that lack of decision was near the top of every failure list. Successful people make decisions quickly and change them slowly. Failures make decisions slowly, if at all, and change them constantly. Why? Because they're afraid. Afraid of being wrong. Afraid of what others will think. Afraid of commitment. Hill tells the story of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. 56 men signed a document knowing it could mean their death. That's decision. That's commitment. They didn't wait for permission. They didn't hedge their bets. They decided, and they acted. And because of that decision, a nation was born. So ask yourself, what decision have you been avoiding? What are you waiting for? The perfect moment? The right time? Newsflash, it's never going to feel perfect. You just have to decide. And once you do, the path becomes clear. The resources show up. The momentum builds. But none of that happens until you make the call. So decide. Right now. And don't look back. Persistence is the sustained effort necessary to induce faith. It's the difference between wishing and winning. Hill says it plainly. You will face temporary defeat. You will be tested. You will want to quit. But those who persist, those who refuse to accept defeat as permanent, are the ones who break through. And when they do, they're rewarded beyond measure. Hill lists the symptoms of lack of persistence: procrastination, weak desire, blaming others, indifference, and fear of criticism. If you see yourself in that list, don't panic. Persistence is a habit. You can develop it. You start small. You commit to one thing and see it through. Then another. And over time, persistence becomes your default setting. He also shares the 4 simple steps to develop persistence: a definite purpose backed by burning desire, a definite plan expressed in continuous action, a mind closed against negative influences, and a friendly alliance with those who encourage you. That's it. Do those 4 things, and you become unstoppable. So don't give up. Don't slow down. Keep going. Because on the other side of persistence is everything you've ever wanted. No one succeeds alone. Hill introduces the mastermind principle, the coordination of knowledge and effort in a spirit of harmony between 2 or more people for a definite purpose. When minds come together, they create a third mind, a force greater than the sum of its parts. That's power. Andrew Carnegie built his fortune using a mastermind group of 50 men. Henry Ford surrounded himself with brilliant minds. Gandhi united 200 million people under one vision. The principle is the same. Collaboration amplifies power. But here's the key. It has to be in harmony. You can't have friction. You can't have egos clashing. Everyone has to be aligned, committed, and moving in the same direction. So ask yourself, who's in your mastermind? Who's pushing you forward? Who's holding you accountable? If you don't have that, you need to build it. Find people who believe in your vision. Find people who challenge you. Find people who refuse to let you settle. Because together, you can achieve what you never could alone. This might be the most misunderstood chapter in the book. Hill isn't talking about abstinence or repression. He's talking about channeling sexual energy, one of the most powerful forces in the human body, into creative endeavor. When harnessed, this energy becomes fuel for genius. When wasted, it drains you. Hill studied the lives of over 40,000 people and found that those who achieved great success rarely did so before the age of 40. Why? Because that's when they learned to transmute sexual energy into ambition, creativity, and drive. They stopped dissipating it and started directing it. And when they did, they became unstoppable. So if you're young, listen up. The energy you feel isn't a distraction. It's a gift. But you have to channel it. You have to focus it. Because when you do, it becomes the rocket fuel that launches you toward your dreams. And if you're older, don't think it's too late. Hill is proof that the best years are still ahead. You just have to tap into the right source of power. Your subconscious mind never sleeps. It's always working, always listening, always creating. And it responds to the dominating thoughts you feed it. If you feed it faith, desire, love, and persistence, it produces miracles. If you feed it fear, doubt, jealousy, and hatred, it produces misery. The choice is yours. Hill emphasizes that the subconscious is the connecting link between the finite mind of man and infinite intelligence. It's the bridge. And the way you cross that bridge is through emotion. Cold, logical thoughts don't make it through. But thoughts charged with feeling, those penetrate, those stick, those manifest. So make it a daily practice. Flood your subconscious with positive emotion, gratitude, excitement, faith, love. Do it before bed. Do it when you wake up. Do it until it becomes automatic. Because once your subconscious accepts something as true, it goes to work making it happen. And nothing, absolutely nothing, can stop it. Your brain is a broadcasting and receiving station. It picks up thought vibrations from others, and it sends out your own. Hill calls this telepathy. And while science was just beginning to explore it in his time, we know now that energy is real. Thoughts are energy. And like attracts like. When you think thoughts of success, of wealth, of abundance, you attract people, circumstances, and opportunities that match that frequency. When you think thoughts of failure, of lack, of fear, you attract more of the same. It's not magic. It's physics. So raise your frequency. Think better thoughts. Associate with better people. And watch how your world transforms. Your brain is a broadcasting and receiving station. It picks up thought vibrations from others, and it sends out your own. Hill calls this telepathy. And while science was just beginning to explore it in his time, we know now that energy is real. Thoughts are energy. And like attracts like. When you think thoughts of success, of wealth, of abundance, you attract people, circumstances, and opportunities that match that frequency. When you think thoughts of failure, of lack, of fear, you attract more of the same. It's not magic. It's physics. So raise your frequency. Think better thoughts. Associate with better people. And watch how your world transforms. Fear is the enemy. Hill identifies 6 basic fears that plague humanity. The fear of poverty, criticism, ill health, loss of love, old age, and death. These fears, when left unchecked, destroy ambition, kill creativity, and paralyze action. But here's the good news. Fear is just a state of mind, and you control your mind. Hill walks us through each fear, exposing its symptoms and offering the cure. The cure is always the same: decision. Decide that you will not be ruled by fear. Decide that you will act despite it. Decide that you will face it, name it, and conquer it. Because fear only has power when it's hidden. When you drag it into the light, it loses its grip. So ask yourself, what are you afraid of? What's holding you back? And are you willing to let a ghost, a phantom, a figment of your imagination, steal your one shot at greatness? I didn't think so. So stand up, face your fear, and take the first step. Because on the other side of fear is everything you've ever wanted. And there it is. The philosophy that's created more millionaires than any other book in history. But here's the truth. This isn't just about money. It's about mastery. Mastery over your mind, your habits, your destiny. Napoleon Hill spent 25 years learning these principles from the greatest minds of his time. And now you have them too. The question is, what are you going to do with them? Because knowledge without action is useless. You can listen to this entire audiobook, not alone. Feel inspired, and then go back to your old life. Or you can decide, right here, right now, that something changes. That today is the day you stop drifting and start designing. That today is the day you plant a burning desire in your mind and refuse to let anything extinguish it. Success isn't reserved for the lucky. It's reserved for the committed, for those who decide, for those who persist, for those who believe, even when no one else does. And I believe you can do this. I believe you have everything you need. You just have to take the first step. So go. Dream bigger. Work harder. Think clearer. And remember, the only thing standing between you and the life you want is the decision to go after it. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe to the Book Sanctuary and let the world of words inspire your soul. Until next time, keep growing, keep believing, and keep becoming the person you were meant to be.